we are going to go into our hot takes. First up, the Iran regime imports militia to crush nationwide uprising. So for those of you guys who aren't aware, Iran is in free fall. They are what happened in 1970,
79.
79. Yeah, no, 1978, 79. Yes, 79 is happening again. And as the Shah tried, Khomeini is trying. He's bringing in outsiders to quell the rebellion. He's bringing in outsiders to kill Iranians. He's bringing in outsiders to maintain his hold on power. Thoughts on that, G?
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to economy, right? And we were talking earlier about whether people are naturally good or evil. I think naturally their heart inclines to evil when they're struggling, but when things are good and there's plenty, I think at least in the Judeo-Christian world, they tend to be good, right? Th- They're not governed necessarily by those same principles, and maybe I'm, generalizing about a society, but I think any society, if you're all struggling, then you're going to look at the ones in power and say, look, you guys were supposed to make it better for us. You're making it worse. I think Iran's government's going to collapse. The question is, what's going to take its place? And, I'm sure we could have another hour debate on whether we need to be involved in that. I'm sure we will somehow be involved in that, but they're going to.
Hold off. This will be a separate topic, but we can have an extra question. So hold off on that because I want to ask the question of Iran and the terrorists. So don't let me forget. Annette, so what G is saying is correct. This is an economic collapse. The protests have been off and on for many years now, and they blew up December 28th while you were enjoying a scenic Christmas and holidays. Poor Iranians were dying. Now they're soaring inflation. The rial has plunged, and we're talking plunging like in Germany post-World War I, pre-Hitler. Right. That's how bad it's gotten. There are open calls for regime change. The protesters are chanting, death to Khomeini. Hey, we should be happy because they're taught in school, death to America. All of a sudden, it's death to Khomeini. Annette, your take, and then I'm going to get into the twofold question I have.
My take is, why do we know about it? My take is, I guess my question to you would be, William, there are all kinds of difficult political situations going on in different countries. We could talk about many countries in Africa that people are starving and there's unrest but we're talking about Iran. And I think why we're talking about Iran is because we want to get involved. And I don't want the US involved in that. That's why it's front and center.
I think it's front and center. It's like a TV show, the popular one, but then nobody watches the critically acclaimed one that actually has depth and story to it, but they're watching the more popular one. I think Iran's in the news. I think they're in the news because they are the embodiment financially and spiritually of terrorism, of hatred for the Jews, of the destabilization of the Middle East, which has been apparent since the 70s. Whereas Nigeria, we have nothing there of relevance to the average American. So I think that's why.
Turkey has a lot of the terrorist organizations.
Turkey's a NATO ally.
I know they are, but I'm just saying they.
No, hold on though. I mean, you bring up a fair point, but see, that's what I mean by the superficial debate. Iran has funded Hezbollah, Hamas, and then every terrorist group out of that region since we were alive, since the fall of the Shah. They have funded it. They are the fathers of everything terrorist wide since 1979. And that brings me to the question. So I think it's important to have regime change there, not because I want it personally, but if you can take out Iran, you're taking out the terrorism of that region. All of a sudden, Hamas, Hezbollah, and all these hateful groups who get funded by the Iranian government, they're cut off. They get nothing. But at the end of the day, it boils down to what G said. Economically, if you don't produce, it festers and festers. And you can only tell them to eat cake so many times before they go off with their heads. And it appears they are going off with their heads. So I have so my question to you is, am I right or wrong in perceiving it how I do? If you cut off Iran, you're literally destroying all those terrorist factions because they are funded by Iran. Now you still have Qatar that funds some terrorist organizations. You know, Tucker's favorite country, Qatar, funding terrorist organizations, but Iran has funded the bulk of them. And in twofold, you guys probably don't know who Pahlavi is, but he's the son of Iran, and there's a faction that wants to prop him up. Any thoughts on that? G.
No, I mean, I think Iran's pockets and well, some people call it gutter, but
That's better.
I think gutter or Qatar probably does it more in, you know,
The Houthi.
kind of like the United States does. You pay a country some money to say, look, chill out. We don't want any trouble. We don't want trouble in your area. We want trade to continue. And we basically are bribing them to stay quiet, right? So I think that's what Qatar does. Iran has a more zealous view of things. They actively fund these groups to cause trouble, right? Whereas I think Qatar is, and you know, I don't know. I'm not a Qatar expert, but I believe a lot of those people in Qatar are just like, let's just chill out. We just want to drill our oil and make money and, you know, fund our country or whatnot. But Iran wants to create the new caliphate. That's kind of been their goal for 20 years now. I mean, maybe you could argue 45 years, but yeah. So I do think that with Iran falling, a lot of terrorist activity down would drop significantly. You know, the only ones being able to carry on their activities would be the ones who have money to fund, you know, their zealous terrorist population or group and say, here's a paycheck. Now go attack this part or that part.
Gee, just not to push back, but just to make sure that I just knows Qatar has indirectly, as G has said, funded groups. You know, what G said is an example, but they have directly funded Hamas. You know, so they have funded the groups. Annette, your thoughts?
Think, William, that if you think, even if there was a regime change in Iran and they weren't funding these terrorist organizations, if you think that, and Iran was just a different country altogether and they were a puppet of the United States even, that you're going to get rid of the hatred for Israel and other terrorist organizations popping up, you're more naive than me. That will never change. It will never change. It could be Iran. It could be Qatar. It could be our NATO ally, Turkey. It could be Syria. It could be, I don't even know where, but it will never change. These organizations hate Israel and they will continue to hate Israel because it's so much deeper than just like it's coming out of Iran. Sorry. I really think I'm right for the first time ever.
I'm not going to dispute that because I don't know how deeply embedded, and that's generational hate. The kids have been taught from birth. But I mean, to give you a counterpoint, who are those people?
Don't have any idea who they are.
How about you, G?
Yeah, they were the Iranians under the Shah, right?
That's right. That was Iran in the 1970s.
Mini skirts and all that, yeah.
Very metropolitan. They were not fundamentalists.
Sophisticated, yeah.
Yeah, they were cosmopolitan. So that's why I said I can't argue with you because you're talking generational hate. You're talking about kids. You know, that's why I get mad at leftists, at the Dave Smiths, at the libertarians. Oh, those are just kids dying. I agree, those are kids dying, but they're not innocent kids neither. They are taught up believing Jews are cockroaches from the moment they come out of the womb. And I'm not exaggerating. The video is out there. So I think it'll take a couple generations, but I think it's good. You have regime change. You know, look at us. And what's my proof of the generational? We were a God-fearing country up until the 50s, and then it all changed, especially when God was taken out of the classroom. You know? See, so I believe you're correct. They're going to hate Jews for another generation, but I think that will dissipate.
You do?
Yeah.
It's biblical that it won't. It's biblical that it won't. You're reading your Bible.
But you did not have, see, this is what you're missing, this history. From the 50s, when the Western nations came in there, you know, Lebanon was seen as the Las Vegas of the Mideast. Iran, Tehran, they were cosmopolitan. There weren't these fundamentalist wars. Civilized nations had taken effect where economy was important, was growing the country, prestige and pride in the country, not killing the Jews was not the dominant. That doesn't mean they don't like Jews. It's like Russians. Do I like Russia as a country? No. But do I hate their people? I don't know their people. I think eventually they may hate Israel because they're Jews, but they'll work with Israel because it's another country. Saudi Arabia, are they not working with Jews? Did they not sign did they sign the Abraham Accord? I think they did. Did they not?
Too.
Yeah. They don't care for the nation of Israel, but they're willing to work with them. They understand to keep civility, to keep peace, where everybody prospers. When you have a fundamentalist like the Khomeini who is enriching himself, who is worth billions, living in luxury, when he goes to the head, it's a golden toilet. He doesn't care with the people. It's about Allah. If you disagree with Allah, we're going to kill you. And they get these weak-minded males to believe that crap. And they domesticate their women like animals. You did something wrong, I'm going to honor kill you. And Allah blesses me. That's, so that's another form of brainwashing. So I think in a generation or so, as history has shown in the Mideast, I don't have to speculate. I see it with history.
What has history shown in the Mideast?
You can have peace.
I missed that. I missed that time.
We weren't born in that time, especially after the 6-Day War. To defend your point, they had a 6-Day War. They did have, and where all the Arab nations tried to gang up, and Israel came and said, let me show you how to really fight.
For that, they've been persecuted. And the Jewish people, they've been persecuted for thousands of years.
Right, Annette, but when the industrial age hit and Western nations started to do business and work with these Mideast nations, that's a time of peace and prevalence. And great with martyr people started to look at themselves not from the religious scope, but from the economic scope. Yeah. Gee, you got any words?
No, I think that was my thought on the hot take.
All right. All right. Russia blows up Trump's Ukraine peace framework. So Russia just rejected today or this week the 20-point Ukraine peace plan. They denounced it as a true axis of war, and they're warning it's going to escalate the conflict. And now, what I got out of that 20-point peace plan is they're treating Russia as if they have no leverage, as if they're a country that lost the war. Whereas right now, they're the country that can simply hold out and completely win the war. So I find this 20-point peace plan, it's like, Trump, what do you do? I think he's trying to placate both Europe and Ukraine and assuming Russia's going to go along. But I think the flaw in the plan is Russia wants certain areas and Ukraine and Europe doesn't want to give that up. So Russia's saying, screw you, Trump. I don't care what you say or do. Where Trump's trying to work something. But they threw that out today. And it comes after Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner signed a 5-point add-on in Paris with European leaders. I'm like, that's nice and dandy, but the main party is Russia. So it doesn't matter what you guys sign. So I'm not aligning with Russia here, but I kind of see their point. It's like, you want us to stop this war, but then you want us to allow you to have NATO troops and peacekeepers and all right in our backyard? No, because that was why we kind of went to war, because you guys were knocking on our back door. So I'm not siding with Russia as much as it just seems they're treating Russia as if they lost the war here. What am I looking at wrong, G?
No, I think you're exactly right. The only thing that's going to really bring Putin to the table is severe economic pain. But that's not happening. Why? Because
today
agreements with other countries.
Yeah.
So they can still sell their oil to India. India now has the 25% tariff from Trump because of that. And that's hurting them. But they're like, okay, well, do we get cheap oil or do we, have fewer, goods sold to America? So I think in the end, Russia is the one with the advantage here. And they can say, fine, you know what? You don't want to agree? Kick us out of the Donbass region. Kick us out of Crimea. And who's going to do that? I mean, Zelensky's not going to do
Trump won't. Trump will not send boots on the ground. Trump sends one boot to Ukraine. The Democrats will rule for the next 8 years. No, it's not even that. It's Democrats will rule for the next 8 years, period. Annette.
Yeah. When he gave the conference about Maduro, one of the reporters asked him about what was happening, with Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah.
It was basically saying how many people were dying. No, it was really sobering to hear. And of course, I actually believed his desperation and wanting them to come to some sort of agreement so the bloodshed would stop. And I totally agree with you. To me, it was sort of like, at this point, can we just give it up and give Russia, make some concessions, and so it ends? I don't see the point in this anymore. I really don't. And they definitely can hold out, and they will, and more people will continue to die. And for what? By the way, for an area that there are actually many people here that are from Ukraine. Some of those people say, well, in our opinion, they're speaking the language and they're still part of Russia, and they've been a part of Russia, and they don't even see what it's all about. So quite frankly, I agree with you, William, 100%.
They're not going to budge until Europe and the U.S. tell Ukraine the Donbass region and those other 2 regions are Russian now. Period. End of story.
Has to come from us?
Yeah, we're going to have to tell Ukraine, you're going to give it up. And here's why I will side with Russia on this point. There was genocide being done to the Donbass constituents there because they're Russian. They're Russian origin. And the Ukraine government was genociding and killing those people simply because those people did not want to be part of Ukraine. So they said, well, we're going to kill you. And they don't talk about that here in the West, but that's an important facet, you know? And because if those had been Americans, I'd be expecting our country to do the same. So it's not that I align with Russia there. It's I agree with their reasoning on that perspective. All right, let's go back to Minnesota. Let's go back to G's favorite topic.
It's there all the time.
Somali fraud and silence whistleblowers. Well, here's what's happened, people. This is a very important story. Minnesota's Democratic machine, the machine, is accused of blocking fraud probes into Somali-run operations, intimidating the auditors, and blacklisting whistleblowers who tried to expose it. A Minnesota Representative Marion Rarick told a House hearing that a Somali-aligned Democrat political machine in Minnesota successfully silenced not one, not two, not 10, but hundreds of government experts monitoring the massive flows of taxpayer money. Up to 1,000 auditors were threatened and blacklisted. 1,000 that included auditors, accountants, and program managers. They face explicit threats of being fired with cause. And what does fired with cause mean? It means you don't get any benefits. You're completely out in the code. You had a pension plan, it's gone. Everything's gone. So fired with cause, denying them unemployment and blacklisting them from all state agencies, as Minnesota's pretty much a Democrat-run state. Now, DHS says the focus was on employees, not fraudsters, meaning they were monitoring the whistleblowers, the people who they feared could expose the grift. They weren't monitoring the fraudsters. They were spying on the people who were trying to expose the corruption. An example, Faye Bernstein, I wonder if she's for Iran falling, she's Jewish, punished for speaking up. A former DHS compliance specialist, she told Newsweek she was escorted out of the building, investigated, banned from DHS properties, and involuntarily transferred after raising concerns. The belief by some, and I don't know if I fall for this, but it's like they want to replace all these Somalis, all these immigrants from all these other countries with hardworking Americans because of the grift. They pay them, they get the vote, Democrats stay in power. I think there's some truth to it. I don't think it's as black and white. My issue with this, guys, again, as a Panamanian seeing two dictators, this is what dictators do. This is what communist countries, socialist countries, authoritarian countries, this is what they do. This is America. People who want to blow the whistle should be taken care of, should be protected. They're the true heroes, not some bimbo in a car. I think this is very important, having these people investigated, and arrests should be made and must be made. Now, before I get your comments, I just want to go to the next story because it ties in. How will this happen? Well, J.D. Vance unveiled a new DOJ fraud-busting post. And he announced there's going to be a new assistant attorney general for fraud to lead federal probes, not only into this type of welfare fraud, daycare fraud, political fraud, but the political violence, meaning who's funding the bimbo in the car? Who told her you got to be there this time? Who told the guy, hey, these pallet of bricks are for you in LA? They're going to be investigating that type. So right now they're going to start in 3 states, our favorite state of Minnesota, but also Ohio and our own home state, California. And again, it's going to be tied as well to the protest shooting in Minnesota. This is the group that will be investigating those type of issues. Your thoughts on this finally happening? Do you think it'll happen, G, or do you think it's a day late, dollar short?
No, I think it will happen. I just want to remind you, 1984, Oregon won all 49 out of the 50 states except Minnesota. So there's a lot of rot going on in Minnesota. To be fair, Mondale's home.
I was going to say, yeah, that's Mondale's home state. Come on now.
But people have lost their home state, right? Al Gore lost his home state and came close to winning in 2000. Minnesota is, I think it's been taken over by corruption and fraud. Look at California. I think California probably takes the cake now, 40 years later. There's probably tons of corruption, tons of fraud here. And by the way, I don't know if you know that the new law in 2026, ICE agents in California are prohibited by state law from wearing masks. So
right,
I know I brought that up 3 times now.
They have no teeth. That's not enforceable. It's against the law.
Yeah, but we'll see. That will go to court, I'm sure. But, I think there's a ton of fraud here. I'm sure there's a ton of welfare fraud. I'm sure there's a ton of, help helping, the daycare and all that stuff. That there's probably a ton of fraud here. And I'm glad JD Vance is appointing this, because if you look at all these states with big cities, and for some reason it happens, states with big cities, there's fraud. And it's because when you got a bunch of people together, millions of people together, it's like some guys will escape the radar and operate underneath the covers and apply for free money from the government. And last time we're talking about the Somalis, I'm talking Americans. There's plenty of Americans doing fraud, and we need to really crack down on them.
I agree. So, and then I want to attack it. Attack it's wrong. I want to get your perspective
Okay.
on the humanitarian. And the reason I say that, they're defending a woman who put herself in a position, and they're trying to make her the victim, and the woman called good. That's like a James Bond. No,
It does.
so they're willing to defend her, but they want to prosecute and destroy people who want to sit there and expose fraud. When you hear that, what are your thoughts?
I guess my initial thought is that it's not that surprising, William, that they're going to be playing both sides all the time. You just don't, I don't think you always grasp like their perspective. And there is going to be a good argument for this lady, Rebecca Good. People might say that that's the first thing he did. I mean, instead of just trying to save himself, which he did save himself, was then pull the gun and shoot her. I'm not saying she was in the right. I obviously think she was completely in the wrong. But to this fraud issue, I do actually think that they're going to investigate it. I do think that we've talked about this. We talk about this at length, how much hypocrisy there is inside the arguments that the Democratic Party makes. I was shocked at the extent of the fraud and how they were able to get away with it. These daycare centers that had no children. I mean, it was just, all of it was really shocking to me. But she makes a good point too. People take advantage. People look for ways they can abuse the system and for their personal gain all the time. And Republicans do it too. Democrats do it and Republicans do it. I mean, I agree with you on that, G, right? I mean, if people can take advantage of things and get some sort of angle for themselves and maybe profit themselves from something, I think sometimes they'll do it. It doesn't matter what ideology, if they're conservative, you know what I mean? Like, I'm asking you, William, like, do you think that the Republican Party has a better moral compass? Is that what you're saying? Is that the
Oh, today, yes, no doubt today. But see, you're generalizing. I'm saying in general, yes. Why? Because we have the God-fearing people, Christians, who believe in God, pray to God. That the left, their God is their ideology. They hate God.
That's
They
a fair
hate
point.
Christians. They hate Catholics. So I'm not saying we're better, but we are more God-fearing. So statistically, I will say if I had to pick that person, the Republican, Democrat, odds are that's a God-fearing person. If I put a gun to my head, I would trust that person better than I would the Democrat. And the biggest giveaway, which I hate to say this, people, it's true. Green hair, blue hair, dyed hair, shaved hair, stay the hell away from them. That the odds are that's a hardcore leftist. Stop helping me, suburban woman, right there. But I'm kind of stunned to hear that because I don't think you can equate. There's no justice. There is no reason to sit there and try to destroy the lives of people trying to expose corruption. We can debate. We can debate the. I won't debate it. I'll just show you the facts, which is the video of the woman. But at the end of the day, I'm like, what Democrats have done to them is despicable. Will Republicans do that? Yes, power corrupts. Power
We
corrupts.
talk about that.
Corrupts, but we have never had a Republican in office at the extent of the corruption of Clinton, of Obama. Not even Bush was that corrupt. Cheney, yes, but it's a big myth. Cheney was not running the country through Bush as they'd like to claim. Did he have a lot to say? Yes, he did. But I will never forgive Bush for the Iran war or the Iraq war because I loathe the hypocrisy. Oh, the wounded warriors. Look what he's done. I'm like, he sent them to get wounded for money. Come on, So yes, there is corruption on the Republican side, but we've never seen, to my knowledge. Now, let me put it this way: the Republican Party was created, and we willingly let ourselves be put in the line of danger to free the American slave, to free the black slave. That's what we were created for, amongst other things. That is what embodies our party as a whole. It was Woodrow Wilson who had that KKK movie shown. It was FDR who wanted to stack the Supreme Court. It was FDR who became a tyrant, his final 2 terms. It was Lyndon Johnson who had those bleeps voting Democrat for the next 200 years. It was Lyndon Johnson who was sent us to Vietnam with no care in the world. It was Eisenhower, a Republican, who warned us about the military industrial.
He did. That's true.
It was Reagan who brought our taxes back down and gave a rebirth to the economy. But then we got Bush, who was controlled by the elites, But so power corrupts and no party is perfect. But by God, if there's a party that has done more for this country than any other party, it is not the Democrats, the party of the KKK, the party of hundreds of lynchings of both white and black. It is not the KKK who did not want a woman to have the right to vote. It is not the KKK, the Democrat Party. See, to me, they're interchangeable. It is not the Democrat Party who wanted to keep women. It is the Democrat Party who wanted to keep women from voting. It is the Democrat Party who fought against the Civil Rights Act. It is a Democrat Party that has hijacked Black Americans without one single policy that has actually benefited Americans. It is a Democrat Party who said the projects, that's just temporary, bro. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 generations later, you see those same family lineage in the project. So yes, Republicans are not perfect, but by God, we are a better party than Democrats have ever been or currently are.
What can I say, William? I bring out the best in you. That was a nice little monologue there. That was well said.
As God said, the truth shall set you free. He didn't say it, but I don't know who said it. Go ahead, G, your thoughts. Oh, no, G, you already gave your thoughts.
I already chimed in.
Let us move on here. Trump, G, this is for you, baby. Then you can chime in with this. So to the audience, G wants, I said, it's messaging. G's like, no, we got to lower the rents. Damn it. Yeah, nah, G's too chill for that. But G brought up rent. And it's indirect, but it's housing. And my issue was it's the messaging, how we deliver the message about the housing. But Trump is actually going to move to try to ban large institutional investors from buying single family homes. Blackstone's stock got hammered for a few days. I think it's back up. But in a Truth Social post, he blamed record high inflation under Joe Biden. That's partially true. And congressional Democrats for making home ownership increasingly out of reach. Partially true. This is where I would agree with you, Annette. Both parties were responsible because by not taking action, that makes Republicans just as responsible. And this all falls on the head of young Americans because they can't afford a home. Right. So this can hopefully help them. And during Biden's term, inflation peaked at 9.1%. A single family home price hit a record high, $432,700. For the audience out there, the average price in California is $900,000. This past June, it dipped from 433,000 to 409,000. G, the floor is yours. First of all, do you agree with Trump taking this type of authority, which is not what you would call a free market, but I believe needs to be done anyway?
No, it's not free market. It's populist. I don't agree with him because you're not addressing what's happening, right? In 2008 to 2011, people weren't keeping their homes. They're giving them back to the banks, these institutions who also didn't want the homes back then. And that was a prime time to take this real estate and turn them into rentals. And some of them did, but they were trying to get them off the books by selling them once the value went right back up and they went right back out and were bought by individuals. So why is this happening?
Let me interrupt.
Yeah.
Okay. I agree with you. That's what happened then. That's not what's happening now. Now they've expanded. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. No, that's what happened then. And I want to let everyone know that's how the free market works, right? People don't want assets where the values are going down or the rental income is not enough to support the house value or whatnot. So what's happening now? We're not building enough homes. We're not developing enough land. And there's too much demand for homes. There's too many people here. People hate to hear this, but illegal immigrants, when they move here, they got to live somewhere and they take up space in a home, which would otherwise be taken by a legal immigrant or an American. So now you have more demand, people willing to spend more for a house because they're both maybe two families are fighting for one home. Whereas if we had two homes, they would say, okay, well, I'm not going to pay extra for this. So what's happening now? Now you got these large corporations out there seeing this basically a parabolic rise in home values, saying, well, let's make money. We'll rent it out, pay the monthly operating costs, but let's make money buying these homes, seeing a shoot up in value, and maybe later down the line they sell it for a capital gain. So the why I don't agree with Trump on this is you got to make the supply of homes larger, right? Existing homes and new construction. So new construction is easy. How do you make existing home supply for sale higher?
Oh, okay, let me
One,
interject here
yeah,
real quick.
yeah,
See, that's the problem I have is these Black Rocks or whatever these groups are, these big corporations, they're now building these massive homes, I mean suburbs, but they're not allowing people to buy them. They got to rent them only. So they're not allowing people to live the American dream. They're buying these large suburban areas, building them out 2,000, 3,000, 400, 500. No, they're not for sale. You can only rent them.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
happening right here.
Yeah, but this is where okay, so you're
Atlanta.
talking new construction, but let's talk about existing homes, because if that's happening in new construction, here's how you counteract it. So a lot of us, we're stuck in our homes, and I say stuck because one, you try to sell and your gain is more than 500,000 on the home, you pay taxes when you sell, and then you've got to buy a more expensive home, and you can't bring all your money over, right? You got to pay taxes on some of that. So now you have less money, and then you got to refinance at a higher interest rate. So step one, what you do is say, okay, you can, let's say you have a year, you sell your personal home. You have a year to roll every single dollar into a new home. You don't pay any taxes on it, provided you buy a new home that's worth more within a year. And then two, what you do is you say, well, you can take your existing loan. Your loan is not tied to your home, but is tied to you, and you can apply your 2.75% to your new home at that loan amount, whatever it is, 300,000, 500,000. You can apply that value at the 2.75%. And then if you need more, then it's at the current value, whatever it is, 6.5%. Now you're going to get all these people who are quote, quote, stuck in their home in handcuffs, saying, well, now I can take my 2.75% interest rate and I don't have to pay taxes. I want to upgrade. I want to downgrade. I want to move to another home. They can do that. Now you get existing supply getting on to the market. And now, yeah, BlackRock's doing that. They can't charge an arm and a leg for rent because now people have other options. And that's the main
Yeah,
thing.
I agree with you, but that still doesn't stop a big corporation going out and buying the area up and saying you're never going to own this house. You can only rent it, and then on top of that, you get all the regulations from California and other states where 40% of the cost of a home has to be paid by by the builder before a shovel's put in, and they pass those costs on. That doesn't address that because my issue is
Yeah, that's true.
I did read up on this a couple years ago, and I was shocked because I had no clue. I couldn't understand why aren't there any homes. And then I read a couple of articles that these big mega corporations were buying when the market was down. They were buying everything up, and the homeowner who said, "Hey, the market's down, honey. We can finally get into the house." And as an example, the GI Bill with a sailor or an army guy, we can get in the house at a good rate. There's no homes, so that's why. See, this is where I disagree with. We don't have a true free market. We never have. The strong take from the weak at every level, as a country, as a corporation. That's why Facebook doesn't lost its creativity. They just buy WhatsApp, Instagram, and that's what they're taking from the market, and we're not able to replenish it. So this is where I'm not saying I disagree with you, but I'm just
No,
saying I think this is this is happening more than we realize with these corporations.
well, I was attacking the other side of the coin. I will say that I played Monopoly too. That's what you're talking about, right? There's only one winner at the end of Monopoly. So, 100 years ago, Teddy Roosevelt was fighting monopolies, saying this is a result of a true free market, that, power is concentrated in a few large corporations and everyone else basically becomes subservient to it. And you look at Walmart, that's what's happening in these small towns. I will concede that point and say, well, we should have legislation out there that says, look, there has to be some limits, and you got to figure out what seems to be fair. And I'm sure that will be worked out over decades. Really, that will be decades. But you can own some rental property, but you can't be the what was that guy in It's a Wonderful Life, Potter?
Yeah. Potter.
You can't be Potter. You gotta
Oh, the
let George
bank.
Bailey's be
Potter.
George
Yeah.
Bailey's
Potterville.
and make this Bedford Falls and not Pottersville.
Yeah.
Gotcha. No, I think this is, we never had true capitalism. You have to have government to protect us, the American people. I think this is Trump. Now, how he makes this happen is the real question. So I support the thought process, but I could easily flip if I don't like how he wants to do it. So he's got to do it. It's just, sometimes I wish he could just go to these companies, stop doing it, and they stop doing it. Meaning,
Yeah, they'll stop doing
I
it till
got,
2028, and then they'll start up again.
well, and that's why I loathe Democrats on that, because Democrats are supposedly for the working class and the people, but they're in bed more with conglomerates than Republicans have over the last 20 years. You got any thoughts on this, senorita?
No. She did a good job.
Standing. All right, here's one that's I'm overweight. I eat well. My doc told me you are in phenomenal shape, but you got to lose a few pounds because I eat well, but I eat too much. So my issue, my metabolism. But I cook my own foods a lot naturally. It's like I can't do it, but I got soup, a cup of soup in here, and I want to get to the beef down below, but or the turkey down below. But my point is I don't eat processed crap, but then I get scared because I buy cheese. And I just found out Pfizer's GMO rennet hidden in most American cheese. Now you're like, huh? What? What's that? What the article is saying, this article claims that about 90% of North American cheese is made with a Pfizer-developed GMO enzyme that's effectively unlabeled, meaning you don't know. They kind of disguise it as they label it. And it's raising alarms about transparency and, more importantly, safety and corporate control. So what this does is it uses something called fermentation-produced chymosin, and that's a genetically modified rennet, first engineered by Pfizer, then later sold, and it dominates the market. But in essence, in a nutshell, what it does is it takes away the natural fermentation process that makes the cheese that's from animal fat, whatever, and puts an artificial one in there, probably for speed purposes, things like that. And they did their basic, oh, it's safe. The FDA has said that this is a relatively safe product. Think about that. Relatively safe product. I'll find the exact statement. But in essence, they say it's relatively safe, but it was based off a 90-day rat study. That's it. So we don't know what the long-term human health effects are or anything of that nature. And the reason this pisses me off is everybody hates RFK, but this is the crap he's exposing. How many drugs are in foods that may or may not? I'm not saying it does, but we have to ask the question, is it causing all this autism? The autism rate has dramatically jumped, not only with vaccines, but maybe it's the processed foods. Maybe it's environment. Maybe it's all this radiation. We don't know. But it seems when we want to do legitimate studies to figure all this stuff out, there's big corporations not only buying up our houses, but buying up the ingredients that help naturally make. I guess what I'm asking you guys and to get the audience to understand is, I think this is a good thing. Don't you? Exposing this? I think it's a good thing to demand it. But I also want to, don't you think this is also the government betraying us, selling out to Big Pharma? We'll start out with you, G, then go to Annette.
I'm all for transparency and openness, right? Like, I don't know about this enzyme, and I'm not a big proponent of GMO. That just means you genetically modify something, which all life is genetically modified. So you know, whether it's a random mutation or it's intentional. So, you know, there's a lot of scare about it. So you can charge more for non-GMO stuff. I mean, if you look at like cucumbers, and non-GMO cucumbers are $3 per, and the GMO one's 50 cents. I mean, you know, there's a lot of profit to be made in saying, well, we're not GMO. So I'm okay with having more information and let the consumer decide. I would happily eat this cheese. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. That doesn't mean that there's some DNA material in there that's going to modify you, right? It's just the enzyme itself was created by way of modifying some DNA of an organism that created it. So
Gee, that's the problem. That's the problem. I don't think, and the person, and your ally's going to go, geez, right. The 90-day rat study was done. Yeah. You go, rat. My take is, why not do an actual proper study, and then when it's ready to go ahead and then incorporate it. Yeah.
But I'm just more of, okay, use it until it's proves that there's something long-term, right? Like, we're living longer and we have more GMO food now than we did 100 years ago.
Yeah. But
Wrong.
hold on, G. You're being deceptive, and I'll tell you why.
Because
We're
it's
not
medicine.
living
You're gonna
better. No, we're not living better. Alzheimer's is on the rise. Early onset Alzheimer's has been coming up like never before. I used to work in that industry. And then we're putting billions, families are putting billions and billions of their own money and going into debt because of Alzheimer's. So we are not living better. We are living longer. But is it conflating? You're conflating living longer with the assumption we're living better. My dad is 92. God bless him, knock on wood. But his short-term memory is now finally starting to go. And now our concern is our mother, who's 85, having to deal with a 92-year-old Puerto Rican macho generation mentality who doesn't want to do what he's told to do half the time. So to me, we're getting towards decisions with my father to protect our money, not from violence or anything, but just they're not strong people; they're frail people now.
Well,
So
let me just bite back with this. So you don't know who's swimming naked until the tide goes out. But if you don't live long enough for the tide to go out, then you don't know who's naked, right? Because you're dead. So the analogy here is if most people are dying in their 60s, you don't get Alzheimer's till you're 80. Now people are living till their 80s, and a ton of people are getting Alzheimer's or memory loss or dementia or whatever. Then at that point you go, well, wait a minute, these rates are going up. Well, yeah, because they're living long enough to get them, right? So that's my counter argument. I'm not saying that early onset isn't happening more frequently. We should investigate all that. I'm not against that.
early
I think
onset
that
is
there's a lot
happening,
of
G.
like, if you don't eat organic or you eat GMOs, you're going to die earlier. There's no evidence for that either. So.
You're proving my point. First take is early onset Alzheimer's is happening at a dramatic increased pace from 20, especially we're talking 30-year-olds now, 30 to 64, not in the 80s. Two, Alzheimer's has not been genetically linked. They think it's aluminum in one generation. Now it's not, so we don't know.
Right.
We just know the plaque dies, and its studies have proven fruitless on this to the point major pharmaceuticals said we just invested too much money. We can't figure this out. So it's not something because you're getting older. Nobody really knows. But that's just one example. The tide has come out. And we see it as an example with Alzheimer's, with early onset, with cancers happening much faster now since the jab. Now, we can't sit there and say that it's because of the jab, but we need to investigate this stuff. And I guess my issue, I'm tired of bought and paid for politicians. And again, I will align with you, both Democrats and Republicans, who will look the other way, like that Cassidy buffoon, that hypocrite, that useless excuse for a Republican senator who is aligned with Big Pharma, and will defend him to his death. Same with Bernie. It's like you're supposed to serve the people, and you're willing to look the other way. You're not sitting there and say, no, we need to take a step back and test you. I don't care if it costs you, if it takes you 20 years. We're funding 70% of your damn studies anyway. I know that for doing a paper in college, how much the government funds Big Pharma studies, depending which study it is. You guys may not be aware, but at one point, the government was funding about 70% of the studies for AIDS. And now you can live with AIDS. My wife and I were just talking about it. We lost my brother-in-law, her brother, to AIDS in the early days, and now he would have been living and thriving. So, and that's because the government funded a lot of that the Big Pharma didn't want to fund. So my point is, I don't care how long it takes. Big Pharma lies when they go, we're costing big. Yeah, but we're paying about 70% of that. Your thoughts on the humanity of all this?
Well, I think it was interesting. I don't know if you read, that Carolyn Kennedy's daughter died of a blood cancer. Yeah, exactly. Granddaughter. And I read the piece that everyone was talking about. She sort of wrote like 2 months before her death in I think it was maybe the Atlantic, but I'm not really sure. But I read the whole piece, and it was actually very touching until the part where she started to rip JFK.
Yeah.
You see that? Well, I guess what I would say to you
I was like,
I was shocked by that because I really appreciate him. And when I was working for Northwestern Memorial Hospital, I used to work for them in their fundraising division, and I was raising money for genetic research. It was during that time that I met Francis Collins. And I'll never forget being so impressed with him and thinking he was a superstar. I mean, he was mapping the human genome at the time. And then he goes on to be the director of the NIH, and sort of is really, in my opinion, very questionable now because his relationship with Fauci. And I wondered, I'm like, here's this person that I admired so much. I read his book. I knew him personally. I met him a couple times, and I always thought this is a God-fearing man. So I go back to your question about how power corrupts. here we are now where they really won't disclose the things that will kill us. I mean, they really don't care at all. And if they can play with it or make money off it or figure out a way to profit off of it, if it hurts us or harms us or it's not, doesn't help our body to thrive or, it doesn't matter in the name of profitability, how it affects human beings and their ability, as you said, to live well, not just live longer, but to be healthy for longer periods, a longer life and in a healthier life. So I question all of it. I did a course over the summer in Yale bioethics. I took a course and they were doing some really interesting brain research. And the professor who was in Scotland at the time talking about the brain research, he said, they can bring a brain back, could be dead for 20 minutes, but we can bring the brain back to the part where we can make the body function again, even though you were drowned 20 minutes ago. We can do that now. But just full disclosure, I want to let you know that I'm working for a private company right now.
Exactly.
And I thought to myself, interesting. What are they really doing with this brain research? Because as soon as he told me that the research, oh yes, it's also good. We've got all the consents and all that using these people that have died and using their human brain tissue and their human brains and bringing them back really to life, except not consciousness. But that's next, I'm sure. I wondered he did not disclose the company, the private company that he was working for while he was still doing this research at Yale. And I think they did 500 things last year. The point I'm making is we really don't know, and they don't want to tell us, and they're not going to disclose it. So I appreciate RFK, even if he's just sort of bringing up the idea that maybe more vaccines doesn't necessarily mean healthier children. And if we can sort of minimize it, we might be doing everybody a favor. I think to be skeptical is the right approach with all of this, which is why I didn't personally get the vaccine. I really would let my body and its natural immunity handle it as much as I can. I'll always take that approach. I personally won't even take like an Advil unless I absolutely necessarily have to. But I think we need to be skeptical. I think the government doesn't care. I think these big pharmaceutical companies will feign their research and feign their results. And I've seen it happen even in spinal cord research. I hate to say it, but I know firsthand that they kept research going and were paying for research, having innocent people who wanted to walk again pay for research that they knew wasn't viable and had already been proven that it was not going to work. It was not going to lead to furthering anyone's ability to walk again. But the money kept on going there. I've seen that happen. It made me lose my faith in giving money to any organizations for any research unless I really knew intimately what was going on, which is very hard to know, to be honest with you.
I agree.
It's an emotional pull, though. Someone wants to be cured from their cancer. Somebody wants to walk again. Do you know what I mean? Somebody at the very fundamental level, we just want to live. So imagine what that does to your, what a pull that is emotionally to think that maybe if you give enough money to this research or that laboratory, your dream of health might come to realization. I think the whole thing is very sad and again a bit of a corrupt, a lot of people I know who can't walk actually really believe that there's cures around the corner, or there's even potential cures that would not come to fruition just because you make more money off of people in their wheelchairs. So I always look to the bottom line. When they say follow the money, I follow the money in medical research all the time.
No, I agree. Gee, if there was and then the trap door opened, I think that would be you as a candidate right now. No, I'm kidding. No, I agree. You always follow the money. Power corrupts. To me, it's not a question. It's fact. History shows power corrupts. It corrupts absolutely. If the Democrats are willing to astroturf protests throughout the country, then what makes anybody think that the executives or people doing the study at Pfizer won't sit there and manipulate the data? In fact, we know that happens. We saw that happen with the UN study on climate change. But it's depressing because, again, maybe because I'm getting older. Y'all are killing our kids in the name of money. And then for the record, I believe we may be closer to what I call, G probably knows the game Deus Ex, a Deus Ex, where it's a whole world built on prosthetics and people, having literally everything done with prosthetics. I believe we're going to be much closer to that world where you could be able to walk with prosthetics, and the mind with the nerve attachment. They seem to be getting closer to that than actually growing limbs and all that. And heaven help us when that world comes to existence. What do
Heaven
you
help
think?
us when I get to walk again.
Not you. I'm thinking athletics.
I keep myself at a decent weight and try to stay in shape as much as I can is because I hope that I'm still young enough to capture something and to have the dream
Right.
of walking be realized for me. But I think there could be, as you said, a technological version, right? Using technology that might be the answer more than some sort of like a drug, let's say, that can like heal the spinal cord, which I know
Right.
is a lot more complicated. But I think that what I'm saying is it plays upon in any situation, given disease or given disability, is going to more than anything desire that outcome to be healed.
No, I agree. I agree. Nobody wants to die. God bless my
Nobody.
sister. She was one of this who goes, "I'm ready to meet my maker," etc. But at the very end, she wanted to live still. I think it's just because she was scared. She's just scared the
Yeah.
thought of death. And I think no matter who you are, that thought's going to happen. But there's a lot of people who, from the get go, like for me, I'm like, I've lived a great life. If I drop dead tomorrow, I'd be content with all the things I've done. That's what traveling the world. I go, I'd be scared to die. But I think there are people who want to live as long as they can. And when they get cancer, they get that. There's documented stories. They've been fleeced by these new agers mostly, this natural remedy, that natural. And by the time they do die, they're flat broke. Nothing left to give to the kids because they didn't want to die. I do agree. All right, we got two more topics. Let's hit them up real quick. Dan Bongino, muscle man, back in the news. He is going after the black pillars for y'all in Make America Great Again talk. A black pillar are people who are in the know. The Candace Owens, the Megan Kellys, the Smiths, the people who are in the know. He's going after them because he's like, y'all just want clicks. Y'all don't care about the truth. Now people are attacking him saying, you're kind of being hypocritical. You're one of those black pillars. I applaud him. And the reason I applaud him, he's been on the inside. It's whenever there's a military story or a military movie or whatever, like a cop movie or a cop story, people who are cops or have been in the military, we kind of have insight. Doesn't mean we're better. We have insight. I think he's taken that insight and he can become formidable. I'm not a Dan Bongino listener. I know G's a big fan of his, but I'm not. But to each their own. But he's going after him, and I appreciate that. Somebody needs to go after the Megan Kellys and Tucker Katarsons.
That was Megan Kelly's great.
No, she has no spine. She won't sit there, and she's defending Candace. And then she says, I got Candace and Erica to sit down and talk. It's all gonna be good now. As Candace, since that talk has continued, ramped up the attacks on Erica Kirk and TPUSA, who she will sit there and say, I find Nick Fuentes intelligent, charismatic. I don't see what's the big issue. Okay, I'm giving some hyperbole, but she did use those two terms.
She did say that. She
Yeah.
did.
And my take is simple on these people. The KKK had every right to do their free speech, to walk down the streets. But if they came into my yard, my mama and papa would say, get the hell out of my yard. If Nick Fuentes or an acolyte came onto the show, hey, I like that dumb brown guy you got there and that dumb woman in the wheelchair. Can I come on your show and talk? I'll be, get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. Because that's what Nick Fuentes is. But she would platform him. She defends Tucker Carlson. And if they did come on, I don't like me some black people. I would not be, we'll get back to that. I'd be like Barbara Walters was on Louis Farrakhan, on him like a dog in heat. I'd be all over him. So that's what I don't like about him. I'm like, we're not canceling them. We're just like, I don't want you as part of my movement. You are not conservative.
Wouldn't have Nick Fuentes on this show. We wouldn't want to talk to him.
Nope. Because I know who he is, what he is, and what he represents. I don't need to give him a platform. And ironically, it'd be the other way around. He'd give us more eyeballs. But I don't care to have subscribers who are racist. I don't care to have subscribers. And I apologize, G's, but look at G and think he's what's the term? G. Is that the term?
A G? He's a G?
No, G is the term he used, whatever that term
I don't
means.
even know what that means.
I assume it's negative.
That term.
I don't need to have a Nick Fuentes acolyte and go, yeah, William, you don't look it, so maybe you'll pass, but I don't like your family who are a bunch of spicks. Why would I give that person a platform? Why? I know who he is, what he represents. And I don't need people to tell me, well, William, let him talk. He's just showing all his hate for the world to see. No, because what happens as is human nature, the people who agree with him, hey, they're allowing him to talk on the mainstream. People are opening up to our way of thought. The KKK died out. The FBI began the process, but they also died out because we ostracized them. Get out of our neighborhood. Get out of our schools. We don't want you. We support Black Americans, Latino Americans, Hispanic Americans, Indian Americans. You don't. That's why, and that's who he's going after, are those people. He's viewing these people as clickbaiters. He's viewing these people as for the money, not necessarily the Megyn Kellys. He hasn't said specific names but he's talking about the people who are shilling for money. The people who never cared about the Epstein file, who are MAGA influencers, who all of a sudden care about it, who can make. Have you guys ever seen the numbers you make? I've seen them on YouTube. The numbers, anybody, if you got 100,000, 3 million, you're not making chump change. An influencer can earn a 6-figure income with just a couple 100,000 followers. That's
Okay,
it.
let's get it going, William.
So,
No,
what do you think of Dan Bongino going after those black pillars?
I gotta ask GB. I mean, I know I have an opinion about it.
Go,
I mean,
go, go. Let's hear your opinion first. Come on, get out, lead the charge.
I'm disappointed in him. I'm disappointed in him
Really
because
interesting.
because he was on the inside. And what did he do about Epstein? But continue to fuel that narrative that he killed himself. And then the tape has disappeared. And I think he's a part of the cover up. I do. And I think that's really why he's gone.
Okay, so you've taken the side that you think everything about Epstein that's been said from outsiders is true. I just want to clarify.
I think our FBI is definitely lying to us.
But I ask, I'm saying you believe all the influencers who aren't on the inside, but who conveniently say, and I'm not saying they're wrong, but conveniently say, my sources are telling me there is a list and they've seen it.
Wait a
Do you
minute.
believe
Hold
that?
on one second. Did the tape, the important minutes of the tape disappear?
Oh, you're
Was
talking about
it
the 3 minutes. I'm talking about, in essence,
1 minute? It was
and they found that 1 minute, and it's a guy that it's pretty grainy, you can't tell. But my point is, you're missing my point.
okay.
I'm
What's the
trying.
point?
The point is, people who aren't on the inside, who are coming to conclusions with
Who are
no
speculating.
evidence. Yes. So I'm not saying they're wrong, but they don't have any evidence. Now, let me take that one step further out.
Okay.
Thomas Massey, MTG. We got to some ladies gonna go on the record, baby. That was 2 months ago. They said those women were gonna come on the record next week. 8 weeks waiting, they were talking trash too. So I'm not saying I align with Dan Bongino, but I do know this, Annette. When you're on the inside, maybe he saw the exact opposite. Maybe he saw there are no documents. They've all been burned. Or the documents don't really give us a true answer. We have to speculate and assume, okay, we know this guy went there. We kind of assume he was with young girls, but we had no evidence. We don't have, having the evidence to take somebody to arrest somebody is a far cry from speculating. And that, my take is, and I'm not saying this is a take I believe, but I mean, one take he's looking at it from the perspective is I saw it from the inside. And from the inside is nothing like what we were speculating on the outside. Gee.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're not responsible for anything, you can say almost anything you want without any repercussion, right? And then now that we're responsible, like Annette and I were responsible for school, it's like, oh, well, wait a minute. Okay, well, now that we have to see all the different angles of it and we get to see what's happening. Yeah, what I thought when I was on the outside is different from what I think on the inside. So I think the biggest disappointment with Dan Bongino for a lot of the MAGA base is the Epstein thing. But because he came out and said, look, there is no there. The fact that he was so vociferous on Epstein did not kill himself, now that he's actually responsible for something and he has...
Just to insert, he was also one of those guys, my source is telling me. Can't forget that.
Right. I mean, but the sources could be wrong too, right? And maybe he's really honest about that. But we had one of our own on the inside now, looking at all the evidence, and maybe Epstein. So here's my take on Epstein. I know that's not really the conversation here, but maybe Epstein did kill himself, but he was forced to. Someone went there and said, look, if you don't, then this is, X, Y, and Z is going to happen. And then he goes, oh, this is a better way to do it. So, I can see that happening. And then Dan Bongino actually sees that and goes, yeah, he really did kill himself.
Okay.
And then he can't talk about anything else. Because of confidentiality. But, he's lost a lot of clout with the MAGA base. We'll see what happens when he returns to his radio show. But I think people have a very short memory. And I think, in a couple of years, he'll be right back to where he was before.
I'm going to defend both of you guys. I'm going to defend both of you guys here.
Oh,
I'm going to defend Annette from the perspective.
Thank you.
People believe that? Well, Pam Bondi was the one who came out. I seen that list. I saw it. It's on my desk. So she kind of screwed it for everybody. Truly believe. But see, and I believe that she was just talking out her yin yang because she has a head so big it can't fit through the door. She's got a massive ego, you know. But that said, she did say that. You know, I can't remember the exact wording. And people are saying she meant the files, like all the files, but she did specifically say, I've seen things, you know. Then Bongino comes out with a different line, and supposedly there's some kerfuffle. But my point is, we'll never know. But I don't care. What's that saying? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's Dan Bongino to me now, because I don't care. I just want people to attack these black pillars who are hurting our conservative movement. Why, Annette and G? Because these black pillars, Candace Owens already said, I don't care about the midterms. Why? Because she cares about making Candace Owens a big star, you know, but I care about this country. She doesn't. Tucker Carlson, he cares about, you know, when Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson platform racists, bigots, anti-Semites, that hurts our overall cause. That gives the Democrats the fuel they need to go, see, they're the party of racism. And we're not the party of racism. But some of our top some of our top influencers, I don't know what the hell happened. I supported Tucker Carlson at one point. I supported Megyn Kelly. She was my favorite podcaster. And I'll be honest, I'm like a guy on crack. Megyn Kelly podcast is on. You know, because I love her podcast, but I won't support her now.
Hey, though, why?
Because evil comes in many disguises.
You have to listen, but you're not
She's
listening.
doing an
Not
evil
listening.
act when she is supporting people who support anti-Semitism, when she supports people who will platform racists, bigots. Distancing yourself by so many layers.
Wait,
I don't care.
Doesn't hate somebody does not mean she supports them.
She
They've
falsely
asked her-
said she fought. Go ahead.
They have asked her, though, to basically defriend and denounce these people, and she shouldn't have to do that.
No, they have not. They have asked her to denounce what they've said. Ben Shapiro, when she was down and out, went to her, come out to California, showed her their whole setup, how Daily Wire can be run, says you can do this. Ben Shapiro said and offered the evidence of Candace Owens by doing journalistic work, following the dots. And when she was saying TPUSA was responsible for Charlie Kirk's death, who was running TPUSA? Erica, you know? Then it was Megyn Kelly who came out and said, no, Ben, a couple of days, less than a week later, no, I looked it up, Ben Shapiro lied. She called him out. Didn't call him on the phone, hey, Ben, this is what I found. But then when Ben Shapiro does that and doesn't want to create waves, but wants to say the truth because she says she's my friend, who's the one who shits on Ben Shapiro and said, he's not my friend? She's a mean. And here's what I did notice, and I told my wife about this. I love Megyn Kelly, babe, but she's like a mean girl who wants all the attention. That's the only flaw with her. And that is what I see in her now. She acts like Charlie Kirk. And if you listen to her now, her and Charlie Kirk were tighter than Cain and Abel were when they were born, you know, tighter than as tight as blood. They were acquaintances. Here's what people don't understand. And G, or you guys, if you've traveled to events representing your companies over years, you meet people who you align with, you talk to, and you're friends when you're at the events. You go out, you have drinks together, you have dinner together, you text each other or email. Yeah, I'm going to be there. Look forward to seeing you. But then that's it. You go your separate ways. You don't know about that guy's family, the guy's wife, their kids graduating. That was their relationship. That was her and Charlie Kirk's relationship. That was it. Now, the way she talks, they were the best friends. Yet she's shitting on Erica Kirk. She's crapping all over Erica Kirk. Yeah, I see that, G.
I just want to say one more thing. Erica Kirk, I think, is running for her life, and I think she's extremely performative. And Charlie Kirk had the greatest respect from me and my daughters, even if they didn't always agree with him. And I've always really liked him very much. I do not feel the same way about Erica. I don't know what kind of Bible stuff she's spewing, but it's definitely not the God.
I'm with you on Erica Kirk. However, Candace is attacking her vile and evil ways. You know, I don't find her flashy. I find her boring. I kind of question, like, have you actually mourned? It's because the way she's tossed. I'm like,
it's strange at best. It's
yeah, it's strange, but I'm not going to condemn her.
I'm not.
No, you're not. But they're saying you're missing one point. Candace is, and Megyn Kelly. I have great respect. Charlie Kirk did not have respect for anti-Semites. A speaker asked them about the Jews and this. He goes, no, not here. I'm not going to even talk to you about it. The boat, Liberty.
Right.
that somebody brought that up. That's nonsense. People have twisted his words. What he was saying is, yeah, it's like I say something to defend Israel, and all these people saying I'm an Israeli lackey. He goes, no, I love Israel, but I could ask questions. They twisted that to go and say, no, Charlie turned. He did not like Israel anymore. They just flat out lie. And that's the boat Megyn Kelly has attached herself to. That. So she could be friends with Catarson, with Candace Owens.
We're going to have a proper podcast on this and go round and round because I have a lot to say and I know we're approaching 3 hours. But let me speak. You've got to let me rebuttal what you just said.
Okay, you do it next podcast. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
The
floor is yours. No, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Every day I watch Candace every single day and Tucker whenever he has a show.
3 hours. We're at 3 hours, so we'll end this with that. All right, people, you heard it. Before we started the show, people, I told the guys, hey, I've got a Tucker Carlson podcast lined up because I've cataloged like at least 10 of his lies so far, just over the last.
Can't wait.
Tucker Carlson, who supports a regime that has fronted and given money to Hamas. All right, guys. Annette, before we go, what's up with your book?
Yeah, I'm looking for a publisher. So I'll let you know if I find someone.
All right. How's it going with you, G? Any updates? Before I forget, G, why were you defending the GMO there? Is curry a secret ingredient we need to know about?
No, because everything's GMO. Everything is genetically modified. So the science, if you look at the science of it, I just sit there and go, I don't understand this because we're all genetic modifications from our parents, right? And
you're right. And I agree with you to an extent. It's one thing to sit there and create a hybrid that'll grow bigger and thicker, but there's another thing to start doing crap that's chemical, and on organic, I always warn my wife, babe, just because they say it's organic doesn't mean it's really organic. That organic field may have been next to a field where they were tossing all the chemicals and all that, which goes into the ground and infiltrates the organic field. And with that, my friends, we hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube and Rumble under the profile handle Grumblings Media. And until next week, I am William Del Pilar for the beautiful Miss Annette Ross and the handsome, on certain weeks, Mr. G. Mangani, the G-Man. Until next week, this is Fired Up, and I bid you adieu. Hey, everybody, this is William Del Pilar, founder of Grumblings Media, and I want to say thank you for watching our content. If you want to support our all-volunteer efforts at Grumblings Media, smash the subscribe button right here. 100% free, and please consume and share our great content. Click either one of these two boxes for more of our work.